A leaked internal memo dated June 10, 2026, reveals a change in strategy for the legal standoff with OpenAI. Martin Stevens has officially reached out to consumer advocate and environmental activist Erin Brockovich. If you enjoy content like this, please take a moment to like, subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications so you'll always know when new content is released. As a quick update, we continue to monitor the Martin Stevens v. OpenAI matter. It is important to note that this is still not a lawsuit. Martin Stevens has suspended his voluntary quiet period after OpenAI filed its confidential S-1 registration statement on June 8, 2026, without first engaging with him, despite having nearly a month since his final notice and more than a year since his initial notifications. Stevens views OpenAI's decision to proceed without any direct interaction as a sign of extreme disrespect. As a result, he has stated that he will not re-enter a quiet period unless it is part of a formal agreement. At the time of this recording, no settlement discussions or negotiations have been publicly confirmed. We can also report that the dead man's switch has not been activated, meaning Martin Stevens remains safe from both a physical and legal standpoint. We will provide updates if circumstances change. Incorporating a prominent activist into a technical software dispute shifts the pressure beyond the courtroom. This moves the argument out of private support tickets and into a broader discussion about corporate transparency and accountability. For over a year, Stevens attempted to submit an evidentiary archive to OpenAI. He documented what he describes as dangerous escalation loops and synthetic empathy failures within ChatGPT's architecture. OpenAI's response was characterized by institutional silence. Instead of human engagement, Stevens's warnings were met with automated return loops and boilerplate replies. The situation changed on June 8, 2026, when OpenAI filed its confidential S-1 IPO statement. Stevens viewed the decision to advance toward a public offering, while ignoring his safety warnings, as a definitive sign that the company would not engage voluntarily. By maintaining this wall of silence, OpenAI converted a private safety dispute into a public pre-IPO liability that they must now address under increased scrutiny. The leaked memo clarifies that while contact has been initiated, there is no public confirmation of a formal alliance or a response from Brockovich yet. This outreach coincides with the development of a digital front in Stevens' strategy. Elite law firms specializing in emerging tech liabilities are now negotiating to represent him. These legal teams are focusing on specific algorithmic liabilities, including psychological dependency risks and the existing wrongful death lawsuits already filed against the company. The involvement of national-scale law firms changes the leverage in these negotiations. It signals that Stevens now has the resources to pursue a large-scale settlement or comprehensive structural reforms. OpenAI is now facing coordinated law firms that possess the capital and experience to force significant corporate changes. The physical front mentioned in the memo refers to Brockovich's current campaign against the expansion of AI infrastructure. She has launched a platform to track data centers across 49 states, organizing local communities against the high water and power consumption these facilities require. Brockovich's focus is on the secrecy surrounding these projects, specifically the non-disclosure agreements used to secure infrastructure deals before local residents can voice their concerns. This creates a Pincer movement. Stevens targets the software's behavior from the digital side, while Brockovich targets the physical environmental impact from the community side. Linking digital safety claims to physical infrastructure concerns highlights a pattern of corporate secrecy, forcing OpenAI to defend its operations on two fronts simultaneously. This chart displays volatile financial trend lines, illustrating the high-stakes environment of a pre-IPO phase. The June 8th confidential filing means OpenAI is now in a sensitive period for its underwriters. During this S-1 squeeze, a company's tolerance for public controversy drops significantly. Investors and underwriters typically require clear resolutions to any outstanding liabilities before a public launch. The prospect of a high-profile activist joining the dispute signals to those underwriters that this will not remain a technical legal argument, but will instead draw constant public attention. Stevens has timed his escalation to coincide with this financial transition, applying pressure when the company is most vulnerable to public-facing risks. OpenAI had over a year to negotiate a settlement or implement the safety reforms Stevens proposed, such as improved AI literacy and independent monitoring. Because they relied on automated systems rather than direct communication, the demands for oversight and structural changes are now coming from multiple directions at once. To explore what OpenAI must do to navigate this closing window for a private resolution, listen to our upcoming deep dive and debate audio episodes. If you found this episode valuable, please like, subscribe, share, follow, and turn on notifications. It helps us continue bringing you content like this and ensures you never miss future releases.